Welcome back to Life's Chillent. My name is Avital, and this week's Parshat is Parshat Teitzei. And Parshat Teitzei is quite an amazing Parsha because it contains 74 of the 613 commandments, which is quite a large percentage. And Parshat Teitzei has some very interesting stories that pertain to man and man. But one of the overarching lessons that I think we can learn is that we have autonomy only over ourselves, and we can only control our own actions, and that the behaviors of others don't reflect on us. And so, in order to reach that conclusion, there are two stories in this Parsha that I would like to connect. The first one appears at the beginning of the Parsha, and it pertains to the wayward son. So the Torah describes this very difficult to understand story about a mother and a father who have a son who is rebellious beyond control. They have tried their best, and despite all of their best efforts to rein him in and to control him and to get him to behave better, they can't. And so the Torah tells them to bring their son to the elders of the city and that their son would be stoned to death. And the commentators are very quick to say that this never happened. It was a cautionary tale, that if a child was so poorly behaving at that age that it was likely to indicate that they were going to be a danger to the rest of society as they got older, that it was purely a cautionary tale. However, it's still a rather disturbing story. The thought of stoning a 13-year-old boy is what the commentators suggest. And I think that something that can help us to understand this story in a little bit of a broader sense is a verse that appears at the end of the Parsha, which says as follows: "Fathers shall not be put to death because of sons, and sons should not be put to death because of fathers. A man should be put to death for his own sins." So what I think is very interesting between these two stories is that both speak to the parent-child bond, which is very close. And obviously, it would be only natural for someone to think that their parent or that their child is a reflection of themselves. In the sense of, if a parent has a child who does not behave nicely, then that parent feels that it is a direct reflection of them and their parenting and their abilities and who they are. And the same thing in reverse. If a child feels that their parents are poorly behaved, then they feel like it's a direct reflection on themselves. And what this Parsha, what these two stories are teaching us, is that that is not the case, or at least it should not be. We are only responsible for our own actions and our own behaviors. We have autonomy. Despite our best efforts, we cannot control other people. We can't control our parents. We can't control our children. We can't control those around us. We can try to shape and to mold them and to help them to grow. But at some point, we have to recognize that it's beyond change. At some point, we have to recognize that we only can handle ourselves and manage ourselves. And once we come to an acceptance of that, it will bring us a lot of peace. Because as we see in this Parsha, there wasn't anything that these parents could do for their wayward child. And the Torah also ends by emphasizing that we are only responsible for our own sins, not for those of the people around us, even though it might seem natural or logical that we would be. And so I think that's a very beautiful lesson we can learn from this week's Parsha. I wish you all a wonderful week and a Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to speaking with you next time.